Holla ballers, what's going on? It's Preacher. That 6.2 is out and about for the last 10 days or so, and the Mythic race is well underway and chalking up to be something pretty fucking fantastic, with the two big boys of old finally sticking out neck and neck as of recording this video. So I'm very, I like this Mythic race, man. I love the Mythic race. So much planning goes into these races, and so many tactics and changes, and then you see guilds that are like, oh god, we went a different path, and it's all kind of cool. So the guilds are 7 out of 13 at the moment, I believe. In fact, as I refreshed the page while typing, it looks like Midwinter have just caught up as well. Very nice. Oh, it's looking pretty solid. Exciting for me anyway, and many of you in the PvE world like to keep an eye on that stuff. But overall, how is 6.2 doing? Let's have a little overview and a review of what's coming with it and how it's played out, and the changes in the backtrackings Blizzard already made, and some of the things that have been kicked out by the community, and thoughts on those, as you guys are asking about that stuff, and I think it's relevant to talk about it. Firstly, raiding. I am loving raiding. I love Hellfire Citadel. Every single boss, besides the obvious lamers like the Hellfire Assault, actually are really cool. There's always something going on, and there are no fights so far, certainly as a tank, where I've just been bored. And there's always something extra to be doing. Lots of very interesting mechanics, and volunteering, which is something I always encourage you guys to do, is to volunteer to do the extra stuff. Be the eye guy, be the robot guy, be that guy. How many additional tasks can you get? Lots of opportunity to really fucking shine. You look at Zul'Harak and you're checking the interrupt meters. Who's actually on the fucking case with that? Can you modify your character in certain ways? I know I'm swapping talents left, right, and fucking center to just help out that little bit. And all that stuff really just keeps me on my toes all the time. Every fight is different. I'm using different talents, different spells, and mixing and matching. And still, it's obvious to see that sometimes especially the new trinkets are a little bit wonky for some classes, and they're fixing those. Interesting to see that after all the PTR testing, and kind of suspected they would have ironed out those issues by now. But nevertheless, all good. All good on the raiding side. Every time I log into raid, I'm having a blast. Now, having said that, I rarely have reason to log in otherwise. On my personal opinion of Tanaan Jungle, let's talk about Tanaan for a moment. I would personally, for me, consider Tanaan to be a fucking disaster. I think that's about the fairest comment I can possibly give it, is I consider Tanaan to be an absolute disaster area. Already, I have essentially given up on the dailies, because they're just so boring. And there's nothing else I can say about them. They're just really boring. If it wasn't for the fact that you get the permanent rune, which stops you having to collect them, I would honestly never do them again. In terms of flying, as I said previously in many occasions, I have little to no interest in flying your walls of Draenor. I just don't need it. It's as simple as that. There's no reason for me to really have it. The longest mounted journey I have to make in the entire game is literally from Volmar, which is the Horde town inside Tanaan, to Hellfire Citadel. And it takes about 10 seconds. So I'm really just not bothered about flying at all, to the point where I don't really want to commit that amount of time to doing dailies and rep grinds. Certainly the ones that are particularly grindy, and certainly 3 Apexis dailies a day. Oh god, I have no interest in that at all. So when it came down to, I had a brief realization when the raid finished and I hadn't done my dailies yet because we've been streaming all week. And I was like, oh, it's daily time. And I was like, yeah, I can't be fucked. I'm just going to log off. I'm not that interested. I've got runes banked for days. I'm more than fine to just chill the fuck out on it and miss a couple of days of dailies. I'll, of course, eventually do them, because having the permanent rune is a nice touch. But that late edition, as we did assess the loot just before Tanaan came out, when we were on the PTR, that late edition is really the only reason I would go, and it's just going to save me money eventually, so it's worth kind of some time investment when I have free time. But am I chasing it? Not at all. Not at all. Tanaan, every single corner, fucking square inch of Tanaan is designed around Apexis dailies. And the fill the bar quest, which is all they are, is just so uninteresting to me. It's really unappealing. I've never heard, let me put it in this context, I've never heard from anyone that they like Tanaan. Now, I'm sure there's somebody here and probably going to point out, it's like, hey, I don't mind Tanaan. That's cool. I've not heard that from anybody. The best praise I've heard from Tanaan is it's not that bad to do the dailies, because you can get sludge, you can get a nice big damage buff, and you can kind of get through it quickly and get it out of the way and get it over with. But no one enjoying themselves like, oh shit, let's go down to Tanaan and do something, right? Let's go and do this or that. Let's get interested and let's see what we can do in Tanaan today. No, nothing like that at all. It's just been a case of, I can kind of tolerate it. And I believe that is about the limit of Tanaan, is I can tolerate it most days. Other than that, I couldn't care less. And that's just a simple fact of the matter, which is a little sad. But we saw it coming. We did see it coming. I did point this out on the PTR testing that it was likely to end up like that. Onto the shipyard. Really sad, actually, to see Blizzard automatically backtrack on what the shipyard should be. The shipyard daily stuff, or the shipyard missions, we should say, are exactly designed the way the garrison should originally have been done, which is actual 2-day timers, so people didn't feel the need to be spending time at those fucking tables. And of course, people are used to that by now, which is why this hasn't worked. People expect to be able to bash out mission after mission, because that's what they've been kind of trained to do over the course of Warlords of Draenor. Not only that, but the Legendary Quest was changed just before the launch of 6.2 on Live from being 3 missions that you had to eventually complete in your shipyard to, of course, completing these various stages, including 25 naval treasure missions and all that kind of stuff. That didn't exist on the PTR. It just didn't exist. It wasn't there. It didn't work that way. Khadgar just gave you 4 quests. 1 was to collect the tomes, and 3 were shipyard missions, which you could eventually get done by just leveling your boats at your own pace and going out and doing those missions when they popped up. They were just legendary missions that were out on the map. So they changed it to give people this thing to work towards, and then they added 2-day timers on top of that. Such a hypocritical decision to make. Don't give the average player a goal to meet and then say, well, it's going to take a couple of days or a day or 14 hours or whatever just to collect one of them when there's like 25 to do. People are going to get pissed off because they want to get it done. This is their legendary fucking quest line. They want to get it finished, and then you give them all these missions to do with limited time, and people are switching over to mage towers and all kinds of stuff to try and get stuff done. And yeah, what a clusterfuck. So, a really bad time. The thing is, and this is what made me sad about the quick backtrack, in about 2 weeks, this won't matter at all because these missions will be done. And they'll probably be done before you can get your Tomes of Chaos, right? Judging by the amount of tomes I've got now, there's probably 2 weeks left, if not 3, of collecting Tomes of Chaos. I would easily have finished the missions by then, regardless of if it was the 2 days or 1 days. And people wouldn't give a toss at that point. The rewards aren't exactly exciting, are they? They're not. If I look at my naval map now, 3 of the treasure missions I have give me the same pair of boots. One of them's cloth. I'm a warrior, right? I'm a warrior, and one of my treasure missions here is to go and get some cloth level 650 boots. The other one is to get the plate boots. The other one is to get another pair of plate boots. Right. Yeah. It's not as if the rewards are something I'm desperate to get. I'm not desperate to collect more Apexis when you've given me a buff pretty easily to get more Apexis, and you've got me doing 3 Apexis dailies every single day. This is the kind of stuff that is rewarding, so it's pretty clear to see that in a couple of weeks' time, when people have bashed out their legendary stuff, ain't nobody going to give a shit. Ain't nobody going to give a fuck. I imagine people won't even fucking bother with the shipyard. They'll go back to normal garrison stuff, which you can do in there. Which then brings up to the other noticeable problem people have pointed out. Why the fuck is the naval shipyard table down by the naval shipyard? Why is it? I said this on the PTR. I was like, why can't we just move this or just tie it to the normal garrison table? There is no justifiable reason for us to have to come down to the naval shipyard other than to build ships. There just isn't. Now let me explain it even from a simple common sense point of view. This is my fucking garrison. I run this bitch. I'm the fucking big daddy. Are you telling me I can't get one of these slacker Swobu orcs to march his ass down here and give my orders that I can give out from my main encampment? Can't I get someone to do that? I have 25 fucking followers. I'll assign one of them happily to the shipyard who will go and sort this stuff out for me so I don't have to take this crappy ride that isn't long, but it's just inconvenient and out of the way. There's no reason that I can't just manage all my stuff from the main headquarters. I think it's a legitimate argument. Despite the fact it's not a long journey, I totally agree. It's a journey that shouldn't have to take place, and it just separates the two things out unnecessarily. I have all these tables. I have an Apexis table in here. I can change my followers in here. I've got war chiefs giving me fucking commands. Jesus Christ, man. I've got all this stuff going on in my base. I've got war masters. I've got everything. So why won't one of these guys just go down to the naval shipyard and sort things out for me so I can just do it from my base? I don't want to spend more time in my garrison. And I certainly don't want to run out. I mean, one somebody is arguing that it puts you back out in the world. It doesn't, because it's completely phased. It puts you back into the world for like 200 yards of road. Why? What's the point? Why is it this way? Why can't it just be in your garrison? It would make so much more sense. I know that if I was in command of this bitch, and as last as I checked I was, I would certainly have somebody who could run down to the fucking shipyard for me, instead of me having to drag my ass down there to send my fucking 7 boats on a mission every couple of days, or every day as it is now. So, yeah, the shipyard was never going to be exciting. We pointed this out, okay? The rewards are pretty slacky. It's just something to get done with the legendary quest. It's entirely likely that as soon as your legendary quest is done, you're gonna abandon the, well, figuratively and literally abandon ship on the shipyard, because it ain't giving anything worth being down here for, other than, of course, your fucking raid loot, which lasts forever anyway until you do the mission, so you can just bob down and get it whenever the hell you please. So beyond that, shipyard is what it is. It's inconvenient, it's a little bit messy, and very alt unfriendly, which I think is the big thing that's come from a lot of people in 6.2, is a lot of people's alts have really ground to a complete halt. And there's a number of reasons for that as well. One, garrisons were nerfed, which is fair enough. There was far too much gold coming out of the garrison. No argument from me. But why are the fucking shipyard blueprints not by BOA? If I've unlocked them all and done all the stuff to get all my equipment, which I have done, including killing the big shark and all that kind of shit, can't that apply to my fucking alts? It's already tedious enough having to swap the gear. I must have spent 10,000 resources in the last few days swapping items around on my boats just to make sure they can complete the missions. Yeah, can't we just, like, BOA that shit? Is it that bad that people want to spend lots of time on their alts? It's got to the stage, and this is genuine, where I've got to the point on all my alts, as you guys probably know, where they're up to speed with their legendary rings to complete them just in the shipyard. I haven't bothered doing it, because it's just a pain in the arse. And it's as simple as that, really. It's just a pain in the ass to get it all outfitted and stuff. And I know Blizzard kind of wants you to not play alts, but for the whole expansion, you've had us playing alts. If this was the start of the expansion, no argument from me whatsoever. But changing the game completely, saying all these alts that people have got ready sat there is now have to be a huge inconvenience to the point where they're kind of abandoned, I think it's a little on the weak side, honestly. And maybe it's something we'll see corrected in the future, which is something I'd like to see. I would like to comment on PvP, because I'm getting some rumours that people aren't happy about PvP as well. I don't have much to say on that, honestly, because, as you guys know, I don't take much part in PvP. Beyond the raiding, though, not a lot of smiley faces with 6.2 that I've seen so far where people are like, this is amazing, this is fantastic. I've not seen a single great comment about the shipyard. It's just something that needs to be done. And the same with Tanan. It's like, it needs to be done. It's there. Get in there because you get some rewards for it. You know, you kind of want those rewards. Some people want flying. Some people just want to get their runes. Some people want their mount or whatever it might be. And it's not exactly enjoyable. So I don't mean to be a downer, but this is kind of the feeling I'm getting, and I'm sure many of you are sharing it. God only knows what the sub numbers look like at the next big calling. A little bit on the worrying side. But still, to be excited, though, the rating's fucking awesome. The rating's absolutely amazing. So let's finish on a high, is that the rating is really good. And it's a good time to be a raider, because we're getting some very cool stuff and some really ingenious encounters. What we want is what we've wanted throughout all of Warlords of Draenor. I want cool stuff to do when I'm not raiding. Just something cool. That's all I want. Something cool and preferably optional, and not just filling a bar up, please. Thank you. Take note for the next expansion, which, from the recent interview, is pretty clear they're working on trying to get that thing fucking done. And hopefully it's got some amazing stuff in it. Alright, guys. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.